All right, welcome to episode 83 of the Destiny Digest podcast. Things are breaking down. I'm Dan Finity, and we have with us tonight Tiddly. Tiddly, why don't you tell folks where they can find you on the internet and what you do in the gaming community?
Sure. I mostly stream on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Tiddly. I'm live 9 a.m. Central, Monday through Friday. I've been playing a lot of Diablo and Baldur's Gate recently, but I feel like I keep on getting roped back into Destiny stuff, mostly for endgame content. So I have a lot to say about that, probably.
Cool.
And I'm also on Blue Sky, and I have an OG tag Tiddly on Blue Sky. So
Congratulations on the OG tag.
Yeah.
That's one of the things where I've been like, oh, I need to build my own website so I don't have to like.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
A lot
Doing
more
it now.
utility than I know how to use.
Yeah, it's great. Epic Dan, what about you? Where can people find you on the internet, and what do you do in the community?
I guess in the community, I'm probably most versed in doing just in-game content or doing in-game helps or doing solo content or doing low-man helps. As far as playing games recently, I've been playing pretty much anything I can get my hands on. That's kind of been interesting. Currently playing through Metaphor, trying to finish that game up before the Game Awards. That's just a annual thing I do, try to play all the games leading up to the Game Awards so I can have my Game Awards show, actually have conversations around it. And you can find me talking about those things on Blue Sky. It's technically Epic Dan 22, but like I need to get working on having that just name like everyone else is.
Yeah, man. All it takes is a domain. It's good to go.
Yeah.
We have with us Sammy Cat, who just conquered Vesper's host. Why don't you tell people where they can find you and what you do around the internet?
Awesome. Yeah. Hey, everybody. You can find me on twitch.tv/SammyCat or SammyCat Plays on Twitter, TikTok, or I'm trying to get onto Instagram more. Just trying to think. Blue Sky, I think, is just Sammy Cat. But I'm trying to get more into Blue Sky, trying to get more around social media, kind of spread my content that way. I don't know, it sounds weird. But yeah. So basically, I have been playing Destiny 2, the video game, Vesper's Host Dungeon. I just completed it, solo, flawless, all bow, no HUD. No artifact perks, no super, originally spoiler free. So I've put in over 265 hours solo into that. Finally finished it this morning. And now I can find out what Destiny 2, the video game, has to offer that's not Vesper Host Dungeon.
Congratulations. Round of applause.
You're free.
Nice.
It's like there's an entire new video game for me.
It's like there is. Congratulations on that. How did it feel in the moment? I saw like the clip that you shared online. Like just your face, it looked like you didn't register it at first.
I totally didn't.
And then as it started setting in, like just your face not mutates, it just transformed into this effervescent being. It was great. It was awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I did not think it was going to happen.
And lastly, so Bonafide Hero's not with us here in the comms, but he's here in spirit in chat. Thank you so much, buddy. We also have Asefa, producer Asefa. How about you?
I don't know if people want to find me, but hey, if they really want to, like, mainly on Blue Sky, to be fair. Like, I'm on other platforms, but the one that I use the most for like interaction and not is Blue Sky.
Yeah.
So same name. On Twitch as well. I just lurk in chats and annoy people when they stream. That's kind of my job.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty much that. I don't really use I have Instagram, but I use it just for me to lurk and kind of follow some people, but that's pretty much it. So Blue Sky is the best one. And yeah, and that's Twitch sometimes too. That's pretty much it.
Like, yeah. And my name's Danfinity. I'm everywhere you can find Danfinity, and add a GG in there sometimes, and you're pretty much got me. I played. Okay, so we've been talking about games that we're playing outside of Destiny, Tidley with Diablo, and with Baldur's Gate 3. I'm really looking forward to that update in January, by the way, because I feel like we need to get some games going, some cooperative games going across platforms here. I think I've talked to Revenant, and we're going to plan on doing like a Drunken Monk quartet.
Oh yeah, Jackie Chan.
Yeah,
that sounds like a fun playthrough.
Drunken Master playthrough.
Yeah,
that'll be
That's
fun.
cool.
Yeah.
Wait, what is that?
So
they're adding new classes to Baldur's Gate. And one of them is a drunken monk character, kind of like Jackie Chan in the Drunken Master movies, which is kind of like a deep cut Jackie Chan thing, like they're before he was super famous. But
I already know how to brand it. Nobody
That's
steal
before
this
he
from
came
me.
over to the States.
he basically
story,
it's
Jackie
movies where
Chan.
he learns like drunken fighting, and he has
Yeah.
like basically he gets drunk and then his kung fu gets better when he's drunk, and so the whole thing he's like
vaguely
reeling
remember that.
around
Yeah.
and like he does these like really like drunken movements, but he's really
Very fluid.
kick butt when he's
Yeah.
when he's drunk. So it's this whole hilarious thing. And actually Drunken Master 2 is probably, like, in my opinion, one of the best Jackie Chan films of all time. So highly recommend if you are into
I have to go watch
weird
that again.
things like that. So
It's
I already
really
know how to
good.
brand it.
yeah.
It's Baldur's Bar Crawl.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's gonna be great.
I'm down for that.
All right, yeah.
That's good.
Let's do that in January. So I'm looking forward to that. Epic Dan, you were talking about Metaphor ReFantazio. What about that game? Because I've played only the demo and fell in love with it. What about that game is calling to you? What's that?
Well, for me, I'm huge into RPGs. So like
Mhm.
anytime there's a good RPG, I'm probably gonna try to play it. Which is funny because we were just talking about Baldur's Gate, but like with all the games that came out this year, I've tried to play pretty much every single one of them. I didn't get a chance to play all of them,
Yeah.
but this was the last one that I didn't even know about. Until about a month ago, and my chat kept saying, "Hey, you should check this game out. You should check this game out." And I've played Persona in the past, so I knew of Metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
But once like the awards came out, I was like, "Okay, let me at least sit down and like try it out." And I played the demo, and I guess for me, even though the combat and the gameplay is like what you see in a traditional turn-based RPG, the narrative, the story, the art direction, and the audio design of just the entire world building, I just found really, really, really interesting. And I'm about 60 hours in, getting close to the end of the game, and have really enjoyed my time in it. Definitely the characters and definitely the story itself, and just that entire world was just really interesting because it's not a sequel.
Right.
It's a brand new IP, so it's a brand new world.
Cool.
And I always like to give new IPs a chance in my mind to see, okay, is it something I'll be interested in? I've really enjoyed my time in it.
It's surprisingly prescient.
Yeah.
As a piece too. Just really, really cool. I love the anime cutscenes. Like the way that they do cutscenes in that game, pretty astounding. Yeah, really, really enjoyed that piece. Sammy. So we touched on Vesper's host. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
So what do you think was the thing? Like, because you said you spent 7 hours on this run, solo flawless, all bows, no super, no HUD. You spent 7 hours on this run. What was the thing that like clinched it this time around? Was it just more? Was it patience? Was it just drive? Like what pushed it? Spite.
Rage.
It might have
That's what
been.
that's what does it for a lot for me sometimes. I'm like, pure spite is the way I get through.
Yeah.
That explains all the Iron Banner you guys have been doing too.
To be fair, yes. For me, yes.
Not wrong.
My smile at the end there was pretty lethal. You couldn't tell though. There's a lot of. It was definitely lethal.
A lot of cyanide in the
Oh
smile.
my gosh.
Yeah.
No, funny enough, actually. So I don't know if you guys know all the players, ATP.
Yes.
He doesn't give out commendations, except for the only ones he gives out are actually for the seasonal challenges. And like last January or February, I was like, I want one of those. So I
Yeah.
have been waiting almost a year to try and claim one of his seasonal challenges or one of his commendations. And I'm like, okay, if I complete it, I want that commendation. He's
Yeah.
like, okay, if you get it the 7th, like if you actually start it by the end Mountain Time on the 7th, and you complete it in that run, I will give you 2 commendations. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'm getting it. Solo flawless. I'm getting those commendations and VIP in your channel. So
Oh, you got VIP too.
I got VIP and 2
Nice.
commendations.
Damn.
So
Damn.
so that is who knows.
That
He was like, maybe you need motivation. And I'm
that's
like,
what put
okay,
it over.
Yeah.
2 commendations and VIP, let's do it.
That's amazing.
Well, that more than just the win to celebrate. Then congratulations on all that. That's wonderful. Seth, what have you been playing?
I haven't been playing much, I'll be honest.
Mhm.
I've been reading way more than playing lately. It's just kind of been my vibe. But this week played mainly Iron Banner, trying to kind of get some stuff done, get the armor sets.
Mhm.
That was mainly my main goal. But I managed to re-guild somehow, and then I did get all the armor sets without
Mhm.
playing on every character. Thank you for that, Benji. But for me that was spiked because
Yeah.
Iron Banner is unfortunately to me not as fun as it used to be. We talked a little bit about that last time.
Yeah, on the first episode. Or
Yeah, I still
82?
just wish I just wish it had like a connection base again, but anyway, we
Mhm.
can talk about that later. But
I mean,
other
we,
than that, I'm just wrapping up last season's stuff that I didn't
Yeah.
finish. You know, like the big 400 grams radiolite thing? I still
Mhm.
haven't completed that. But I
Okay.
figured out that there's a way to get them done. And I was like, oh, I can get them done weekly. So I'm just going to do that, slowly make my way through that. So that's pretty much all I've been doing in Destiny is like Iron Banner, finishing that, and then wrapping up some old stuff.
Heck yeah.
Not super interesting.
So let's talk about Iron Banner, because Epic Dan and I were talking a little bit before
Mhm.
that we played Iron Banner this week. I think we both actually enjoyed our time in it. Is that what you would say, Epic Dan?
I played last week.
Oh, last week.
So if
Yeah.
something's changed, I haven't played since the whatever the last
Mhm.
patch was update. No, but you know how like the game goes down sometimes.
Yeah.
I played like the first Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I even gilded my Iron Lord somehow, and it was the first time I had gilded Iron Banner since the second season the title
Mhm.
came out. So I can only speak for those first couple days. I guess when everybody was playing, or something. I personally didn't have any connection issues for those couple hours of me playing. So I know before we got live, I said that it felt reminiscent of the connection days, but I also felt like it felt a lot better than the last times I had played PvP, specifically Iron Banner. And I enjoyed it a lot, but I also only spent 30 hours in it. I don't know if I would have felt the same way if I had played every day for the past 2 weeks. Do I think I'm gonna play again next time Iron Banner's around? Probably not.
Yeah.
Because I really only went into it going for the sidearm. And after I got probably a handful of ones that I really liked, I still wanted to play. I stopped, but I knew that if I wanted to keep playing, I would have enjoyed myself at least for a little while longer.
Yeah. I played, I think, for 4 hours or something like that. on Tuesday. Maybe it's just the amount of time that I spent that I actually enjoyed
Maybe.
myself. But I was we were wrapping up the charity marathon thing, and so I was running random loadouts basically every time we would hop in. I was just having a blast, and we I think we had 4 people with us. I think at one point we had 5. But the matchmaking didn't feel bad. I felt like I was able to get kills, like not fairly easily, but I wasn't I came out positive a couple times, which I felt pretty good about. Titan with ACDO feedback fence and glaive was very stupid. Very, very
Yeah.
stupid. Just running around, just stabbing people right in the face. It was great. It was fantastic the entire time. There's a clip up on my TikTok of me taking out 4 dudes at one time, or not at one time, but in one run. And yeah, it was great. It's fantastic. Also phrasing. Sorry. Should have thought about that.
It's like, wait.
Yeah.
Dan.
Yep. Anyways, but yeah, it was I had a lot of fun with it, but I think it was mainly because of maybe the state of everything else that was going on around it.
I can tell you, as somebody who played a couple of matches on the other side
Mm-hmm.
of a team full of glaives, it was not very fun.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you had a good time.
It was great. It was awesome. It was
It
a
was
lot of
tough
fun.
to fight. Very
No,
tough to
see,
fight.
I agree with Sammy though, because like for
Yeah.
me, like I said before, like I've always enjoyed Iron Banner before.
Mhm.
And then when they made a change from connection based to skill
Mm-hmm.
based, to me that kind of killed the whole vibe of Iron Banner, because Iron Banner was just, you go in to have fun. It doesn't matter if you win, it doesn't matter if you lose.
Yeah.
You're there to play with friends. And when it became connection based, like I'm somebody who has friends all over the world, like literally UK, US, like everywhere. So if you play with somebody that's like very far, even when you're playing with connection based, you still encounter people that were laggy. That's fair, but like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like, oh, it's even worse, because if I end up in a EU lobby, then I lag or they lag or whatever. But it's also just like it feels like you can't really play with friends anymore. Like you can't 6-stacks like you used to. Because
Yeah.
if you 6-stack, you're like you're facing sweat. And even sometimes when you don't 6-stack, you still end up facing sweat. I 4-stacked with a friend this week, and we ended up playing against Ape, Benny, and like Omelette.
It's easy matches, you know.
And like we
Super
played one, I'm
easy.
like, okay, cool, yeah, and like that's okay. Like, you know, like I said when we were playing, the best part about that is that the game's gonna be like ending soon.
Over quick. Yeah.
Like that's the like
Yeah.
Right.
silver
Like, at
lining
least
of
I'm
this.
getting mercied.
Yeah, exactly. We're
I
gonna
don't
get
have to
mercy.
suffer
That's
for
okay.
too
It's
long.
always
Exactly. So we're like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Play the game, get mercied, fair. We're breaking those matches. Thank you, Bungie. Queuing into the game. Oh, look who we're facing again. Omelette, Ape, and Benny. Oh, well, would you look at that? So it's just that kind of like I don't know. I don't really like how the matchmaking is currently going. Like you can't really you can't really do more than 4-stack. And even when you do, you end up facing some like really, really good players, which is fair. That's fine. But it's more like the fun is kind of gone.
Mm.
And then it's grindy. Like I was finishing the guilding because I was almost done, and all I had left to do was the win matches. I really strongly, really dislike the win stuff.
Yeah. Some people were in my
Make-
clan were saying that was
I
pain.
hate that, because like you can get on a win streak, that's great, but then you can get on a lose streak, and if you get on a lose streak for a really long time, it's really frustrating because you're making
Mhm.
absolutely no progress on that. And I was talking to Ahoy because I was playing with him earlier today, and I was saying like, to me, if I'm guilding something that comes every season, because like
Mhm.
guilding resets every season, right? And not only am I guilding every season, but it's the same things that I need to complete to guild.
Yeah.
Don't make it a win factor, make it a play factor. I should be able to guild this by simply playing the game.
Yeah. I
So
think
I
like
completely agree. Yeah.
win lose, like make it's a 2% completion. Like I get 2% on that specific triumph
Mhm.
if I lose, and I get like 5 if I win, or whatever. Count it however you want, but give me something for the fact that I played a little bit. It's a guild. Like it's not supposed to be super grindy, or at least to me, it shouldn't be grindy.
Yeah.
Not for Iron Banner. Like I feel like Iron Banner is already kind of in a not super great spot at the moment. Like there's not as much population playing
Mm.
for various reasons. I don't know all the reasons, but whatever. But like if you want people to play, make it fun first and foremost. I don't think it's really hitting that spot at the moment. But also, if you want people to go for these titles, then make it so that you want a title, cool. Like, yeah, the base title, make it grindier because you have to get that base title. That's fine. That's okay. But the gilding, make it so like you're playing that specific game type, play it, you'll get the gilding done if you play quote unquote long enough.
Do you think that that's kind of a holdover from it Iron Banner being perceived as in-game activity, or having once been in-game activity in Destiny?
And was it ever really endgame? To me, way before this current version of Iron Banner, Iron Banner to me was a fun time.
Yeah.
It was one of those few Crucible like type of game mode that was pure fun. Because I've said this before, and I know a lot of people didn't like this, but to me, I'm like, it's not a competitive thing, so why does it really matter?
Right.
But to me, Iron Banner was you get into a 6-stack, not always, but like often, you would get into a 6-stack, you would stomp, you would get stomp.
Yeah.
And you would exchange win and losses this way. Stomp, get stomp, stomp. It wasn't like a pure like 50-50 ratio, but it would be like, you know, balanced enough that you'd be like, it doesn't feel too bad if you lose a few in a row, but it also doesn't feel like, oh my God, I'm rolling everybody for like 20 games in a row. And so it never really felt endgame, even though there was the whole light level thing before. That's fair. But like to me, it was more like, this is a fun game mode to play with friends.
Yeah.
And that's really all that I need. So I don't know. It's one of those things to me that I don't know. It just makes me sad right now. Give me one second.
So I can tell you why, as somebody who has played Iron Banner before, I chose not to play Iron Banner, other than haven't been playing a ton of Destiny. I agree with Seth. I think when I liked playing Iron Banner, I would hop in, I would queue up with people in chat, like so we would 6-stack. It would be more casual, it'd be super fun. And I was I didn't even hop in, but I was told that doing that now is a terrible idea because you match sweat teams, and that doesn't fun. Being like feeling like you're cannon fodder isn't fun, and I think that's one of the reasons that I don't play Trials very often. I'm not interested in playing PvP very much. I'm like a very casual PvP player, and so I'm not interested in being the person who's boosting other people's stats and having a miserable time. So that's why one of the reasons I didn't want to go in. Another thing, like in terms, I'm not really interested in gilding or I've never got the Iron Banner title. I'm not interested in the PvP titles. I think the titles, they really kind of maybe overdid the FOMO to the point where I don't care about the FOMO anymore. It's like,
you're not the only one.
I'm not even invested. I've missed, I think it's because I've missed so many titles at this point that I'm just like, well, what's another one that I've missed? Like, what's another thing that I've missed? It's okay. Like, it's just, I think they made it, maybe have gone too far in the FOMO to where the point is like, I don't have any fear anymore. I'm way past the point of fear at this point. And I think the final thing I wanted to say is I know that one of the motivators, the only thing that I considered as a reason to hop into Iron Banner this time around was definitely the rocket sidearm, right? Because it has a chill clip and it's a unique thing. It's not available anywhere else. That being said, I think that is it so much better than the other options in the loot pool that it would be worth the time, energy, and frankly, suffering that I would have to put in order to acquire it. I do think that the loot pool is oversaturated with really good loot. And for me, the answer was no. The answer was like, I have 3 really fantastic rocket sidearms already. I can just pull those out. I can use those. They're great. I have other really great weapons that I've crafted, that I've done grinding for and endgame activities for all those different slots. I'm like, I don't need it. I really don't need it. So for all those reasons, I was just not interested. I thought about it for a second, then I was like, nah, definitely nah.
I feel that. I fully agree with you on that. Unfortunately,
so what I did hear there though was like, so what we're looking for is like, we want a reward incentive that is good. A reward incentive that we feel is good for us to play the activity, right?
Yes.
Gilding and getting a title at this stage in the game for experienced players is not something that we're really looking looking for?
It depends on the player. If
Yeah.
I mean, I think maybe I feel like Steph is maybe more of a completionist, or
Mhm.
like
Less
Lulu
than
is
I
more of a
used to.
completionist than I am. Like people who are triumph grinders, who are 100%ers maybe.
Mhm.
But I think even serious players or people who play a lot, I don't think that I think the titles may be. I think I agree with you on that. But there's definitely people who are
It's
still
I think
100%ers.
it's okay. The reward part is important for sure. But it's also
Mhm.
like if the rewards, like if there's too many rewards, quote unquote, I don't want to say that, but like if the reward pool is very large, or if the reward pool is not as interesting for some people, because that can happen, that's fair.
Mhm.
Make the game mode fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that
Make
would
the
compensate.
activity fun.
Yeah,
Exactly.
agreed.
Like it's
Yeah,
either like best case scenario in any activity that is offered in a video game, the best absolute peak level best case scenario is the activity is fun and it is rewarding, right?
correct.
Like
Mhm.
that's
Yes,
absolutely like that's what we want technically.
yes.
But if your activity is not fun but it is highly rewarding,
You'll
people will
suffer.
still bear with.
Correct.
You'll suffer
Yes.
for it. You'll be like, you know
Yes.
what? The rewards are make it worth my 20 minutes are absolute pain. Whatever, I'll
Mhm.
do it. It's okay.
Yeah.
But if the activity is not fun and it is not rewarding, then that's not like if the activity is not rewarding but it's fun, I don't care. I'm enjoying my time in it. I will play it. But if it's hitting neither of these two and it's not hitting the best possible option and it's not fun and it's not rewarding, then it's
Mhm.
like what's the point? Because that's another part about Iron Banner that I think we talked a little bit about. I can't remember, but the you do get engrams even if you lose, which is great.
Yeah.
Love this. Thank you.
Yeah.
But the cost of focusing these engrams is absolutely mind-boggling.
Mm.
It is way too high for an activity that lasts 2 weeks
Mm.
and where the engrams do drop. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoy the drop rate, whether you lose, whether you win. You get more if you win, of course. That's fair. That's more than okay. No complaints about that.
Mhm.
But having to turn in how many engrams with how much glimmer every time to try to focus one weapon and then not like often not getting that weapon because those
Mm.
weapons have like a lot of perk on their list. That's
Yeah.
really frustrating to some regard. Like I don't even focus like I don't even focus for any weapons. I just wanted the armor. I managed to get the armor. I got lucky. But it's more like, okay, but people that do want specific weapon with like very specific roles,
Mhm.
they kind of get the short end of the stick
Sure.
sometimes. It's very frustrating
Sure.
for them. So it's like the activity is not particularly fun. It is somewhat rewarding, but
Mhm.
not that much. I can't really play with friends as much as I used to. And then I have to spend an insane amount of glimmer to
Right.
focus it. And glimmer is it's not hard to get glimmer, don't get me wrong. But like if
Right.
you use all of your glimmer, you don't have the mats to turn it at Rahul, then you have to go do like you have to stop playing Iron Banner.
It's a weird
to go do
economy.
Yeah.
public events.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a weird and like that to me is all engrams.
Mhm.
But Iron Banner is worse because it's 2 weeks and then you're kind of out for however long until it comes back.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So
It's limited time. Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a limited time.
So
it's
your glimmer per the amount of time is like a consideration. Yeah.
crazy,
yeah.
Yeah.
insane.
So to circle back, I want to circle back to the rocket sidearm. So Epic Dan,
Yeah.
you played for about 30 hours, and you got a few roles that you enjoyed of the rocket sidearm, or like roles that you thought were like worthy of keeping. What were you looking for? Do you feel like it was are they must haves or like nice to haves?
It's tough because I agree with everyone else's sentiment regarding
Mhm.
Iron Banner and the sidearm. Unfortunately, I had to look at it from a content standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally wanted to see what all the hype was because I know people were talking about Chill Clip. I don't think Chill Clip is the better perk on that weapon.
Mhm.
I know some people like it because of it being stasis and its stasis synergy,
Sure.
but if you want Chill Clip, there are better ways of getting Chill Clip, in
Mhm.
my opinion. While it is really good, I don't think it's worth going into Iron Banner 4.
Mhm.
I also have played Destiny long enough to know there'll be a better one that comes out in
Yeah.
like a year.
Yeah.
Fair.
Like next episode.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Could be next episode,
Yeah.
you know?
Surprise.
That isn't a bad thing,
Yeah.
but if you're someone who likes to get all the new things when it first comes out, I understand it's worth going to get.
Sure.
Just to say you got it first, but like I was already looking at the perk pool and I was like, if only this weapon had this in it, or if only it had this, I might spend more time in Iron Banner or in that activity to get it. And I can see before Apollo coming out, it could be in the Dawning for all we know, like a secret mission with the Dawning, and it's got a sidearm that has like actually really strong perks with Chill Clip or with something better. Maybe. I don't think it's worth, if you're not already a PvP player, or if you're not a completionist, or if you don't need it for a very specific build, it's not worth going into Iron Banner for.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that's a good point, though, Dan. The idea that, I mean, it's nice that if you are a PvP player, this is a place where you can get a really excellent rocket sidearm.
Yeah.
It's in a space that you're already in. You know, because like the Arc one, you have to do a dungeon. The other one was like
they're all PvE.
The Solar one is like attached to story grinding. So it's at least like for people who, and we don't have any PvP mains here that I know of. So like it's people who are PvP mains, it's a nice way for them to easily access a really excellent iteration of it, right? So
it's really good. Don't get me wrong, it's a really good sidearm. I used it in the dungeon. Its ammo economy is terrible because it doesn't get left from gold, and especially with the nerfs to sidearm ammo, you run out of it way more than you do any other sidearm. So if it came with left from gold, that'd make it be, because everyone, I don't know of anyone that uses a rocket sidearm any other way besides using it as a primary, you know?
Right.
Yep.
So even though it takes special ammo, you use it like a primary.
Yep.
And
100%.
you didn't need left from gold before the ammo economy nerfs. You definitely need it now. Especially if you want Chill Clip on it. I know some people like Deconstruct. Deconstruct is overrated. I don't care what you say. It only works on bosses, and I'm not using a rocket sidearm on a boss. You know, just not. It's cool, but it's not. So
is it okay?
I think it's good, and in the future you'll get a better one. Just wait it out.
Just wait. Yeah.
What was that, Sammy?
Is it okay if I just sidetrack us a little bit on this rocket sidearm?
Sure.
A little bit. So, do you feel like there being a special ammo sidearm takes away from the actual primary sidearms?
I will say that I haven't used primary sidearm since the rocket sidearms have come out.
Oh.
Like a regular, just Joe on the street sidearm.
I don't know that there has been a space where people reached for those types of sidearms since Destiny 1, where people use them as an ammo generator in PvP. Like that is literally the last time I remember people actually reaching for those. Period.
Like,
I don't think they ever found a
Vanguard
space for them to be useful, or you know, I don't know. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just don't. I mean, they're fun. I think they're fun, but they're
No, besides the artifact where you had to use it for like a champ mod.
Right.
Primaries.
Yeah.
That asks a bigger question in my opinion though, because 99% of the time I don't use a normal primary. I just don't.
Yeah.
Even in like unless I'm using it for a very specific build. The game in general, especially with special rocket assisted sidearms, the game really doesn't benefit itself for having normal primaries, especially now that we're getting special ammo primaries. I don't know how they do this, but I wouldn't be surprised if, this is probably a terrible take, but like I just don't see a need
Don't
for
worry,
like
it's going to be recorded.
normal primaries. I mean, I have hot takes all the time, so I'm used to it. But Sammy brings up a really good question. You know, like if you were to have like more accessible special ammo primary weapons, what need is there to have that archetype in the game?
Mm-hmm.
Especially
really
when the lethality of the special ammo primaries are way stronger
Mm-hmm.
than their primary counterparts.
And this is
What's the
even
purpose of them?
after the nerf of the intrinsic juggler nerf. Right,
Mhm.
remember? Because people were rocking double special all
Yeah.
the time because you would get more
Oh,
ammo that way,
Yep.
right? For
Yeah.
more heavy that way, and they nerfed that. So, but you can still. I run double special until I run out of special, and then maybe I'll swap if I run out of
Yeah.
ammo. But other than that, I'm running I'm always starting with double special at least. And I
Mhm.
feel like that we've come a really long way from vanilla D2, and it was like double primary all the time.
Yeah.
And now it's
Well,
just
I only
like,
run double primary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like you
Ugh.
only run double primary. Like if they were to come out with, which is what I'm saying, if they were to come out with a special ammo bow,
Mm.
That's where I'm getting with this.
you know what I'm saying?
yeah. So you're
Like
saying
if they
that
started pushing
yeah.
them, because the only ones
I
that
think it
are
would
like that are exotic. But if they had legendary
destroy
ones,
the
Mhm.
archetype. I think a special bow would destroy the archetype. Absolutely.
probably.
110%. I think it would be the biggest mistake that they could possibly make to bows.
Yeah, because
Is
it
to
would
Well,
have
have
to.
a
I mean,
special ammo bow.
It would
but you
have
have
to
to
mean,
think
fit.
that they are
kinda-
definitely
yeah.
going down that path because every, let's say, year, we see another primary archetype start getting like, you know, a special ammo version
Overshadowed.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would
The
have to
exotic
fit.
bows
Yeah.
right
Well, that's how you
now.
balance it, is you make them exotic.
The exotic
Obviously.
bows, primary bows, well, obviously there's no special ammo, are borderline special at this point. They are borderline special, and you see this a lot in PvP with Ley Monarch, with
Mhm.
Trinity Ghoul, with Wishender. These are all incredibly powerful primary weapons, right? And people have argued in PvP they need special ammo. That's where it is. And people use them in GMs, for example, in endgame
Mhm.
activity, specifically as a high power primary weapon,
Mhm.
to the point where it is justifiable to say in some instances it can take the place of a special weapon. Now imagine they have legendary special weapons that have that power.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that going to then put regular bows? They're going to have to scale regular bows back.
Or people
Yeah.
won't use
Yeah.
them, which is
Or
kind of what's
people-
going on with primary
yeah.
ammo weapons in general.
Exactly.
People
Yeah.
are they're
Mhm.
just going to be left in the vault or dismantled or whatever.
hmm
Yeah.
And I don't think Bungie would know, especially with how big the sandbox is right now and the amount of archetypes we have and the amount that they're putting in. I don't think they'd know how to balance them. And
Mhm.
I don't think players would know how to react to them balancing them. I think that I am terrified that Bungie is going to have a special ammo bow. I am terrified
I can see it
that they are
happening in the
going to
next year.
put
Yeah.
a legendary heavy weapon or a legendary heavy bow. That will fuel my rage.
Yeah.
I have a lot of words, but I think it would just destroy the archetype.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm
just wanted to
really
sprinkle
afraid
that
of
out there
that.
because your question is something I've talked with my chat about for a very long time, especially since Buried Bloodline came out.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Because I just mentioned that, you know, they're doing unique things with the archetypes, and we're starting to see a very interesting meshing
Mhm.
of exotics, of legendaries, of special weapons becoming our primary weapons. And more that, like, more and more archetypes are becoming more accessible,
Mhm.
and more variants are coming out, more elemental ones are coming out, and it's going to be interesting over the next year or two because, you know, we might come out with a bow, you know, that's just a seasonal bow, but hey, this one has all these cool exotic perks on it, or this whatever, but it's also special, you know. I'm just interested in people's thoughts. And you are absolutely right.
Yeah.
Like Volt Shot shouldn't be on a bow. I will tell you over and over again, Volt Shot should never have ever been put on a bow. But you will not see me prying non-denouement out of my
Wow.
hands. That bow trivializes any other arc bow.
No more trying to
That
go
bow
when you need that.
trivializes just about any other legendary bow if I can use whatever I want, like if it's not restricted to my build.
Watch this transition though. It'll now be easier to get that Volt Shot bow thanks to the tuning they did on the perk weighting issue that we got an article about last week. This came out on November 27th. Andrew Friedland, the technical owner of the engineering team, wrote this article talking about the perk weighting issue that popped up. What was it, like back in September,
About a month
October?
and a half ago.
Yeah. He says the timing of our community team escalating the issue to us was actually quite serendipitous. When they first popped up on the team's radar, Vincent Davies, one of the engineers on my team, was just wrapping up work on the script to help us validate the stat distributions on next-gen armor for Frontiers. With a few minor tweaks, we were able to use the script to also help us validate weapon perks, simulating thousands of drops per minute, and logging the data for us to chew through. Using this tool, we were able to quickly verify the community's findings. Our finding? While the probability of a single perk was even, the probability of pairs of perks was anything but. So like they cycled through everything, in that they found that like the pairs of perks were like more rare. Did any of you guys read this article previous to the episode? What are your thoughts on the
I read
perks?
through when they came out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's people really deep dived into it because of the GL. It's just funny that this, farming of this GL is what caused people to get super analytical and deep dive into this. And even them talking about it, I do think is interesting how much, I think I said this on the last episode, how much the community knows about the under the engine of this game. Every time I think that they like can't outbeat themselves, they always do. Like this time last year was I guess like a month or two, like back in September. Well, it's been pretty much about a year since the crafting, and I thought that was like the maximum limit of the community just knowing more about the game than the devs did. And they just show themselves up a year later. And it does take back, like, it makes me, as I was reading, I was like, oh, I remember I did this farm and I saw the same role so many times in a row. And then I'd maybe see another one. And I just have all these memories of farming something for 100 hours until I got the role that I wanted. And it's one of those things like, how do you as just a person, I'm not nearly smart enough to just think about how do I look at that system and do enough analytical like hypothesis to even figure out that is a thing, and how do I put it into words and numbers and show to the people that actually made the game this is what's happening. It was all, I read it all, and while I did not understand a lot of it, I was just like, wow, that's just interesting,
Wasn't there some like back and forth, like Bungie initially pushed back on that idea conceptually? They were like, because the community identified the issue during the grenade launcher farm, because people were like, oh, this is such a great perk combination, we really want this, and it was really unlikely to get right. And then they people tried to communicate with the devs and say, hey, this is an issue, and they were like, oh no, that's not an issue. And then eventually they come up with this article, and they're like, well, actually
they showed
we
so
a
much
little
proof.
more. But it was so funny because the community didn't buy it, and then they kept on coming up with like, people were doing like statistical t-testing and like sampling, and then until they're like, well, we don't, come on, give us the real answer. I did read the article also. Sorry, go ahead, Sammy. Go ahead.
Didn't DMG have a tweet or something where he came back and he's like, "Sometimes we're wrong."
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
it
we're
was
human.
after. Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
he had something like that, like, "Hey guys, yeah, we told you the truth, but at the same time, sometimes there's more to it. Sometimes we're wrong."
Mhm.
Well, I mean, because it kind of felt like Bungie was gaslamping the community because the community is like, no,
Yeah.
no, no, we've got the proof. We've got the proof. Look at this. Look
Yeah.
at this chart. And then they were like, no, 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 it's fine. What are you saying? No, you know, so like it really felt like we were being gaslamped. But I agree with Dan. I think that it's a testament to the Bungie devs and engineers that they give us this much information
Mhm.
on how
Yeah.
everything works. I read the article and I was like, you know, eyes glazing over. And I've studied statistics and
Yeah.
you done
I
higher
hated
level math,
statistics.
and like my eyes are glazing over. I'm like pseudo random number generators. I'm like, okay, all right, that sounds good. But you know, they really do make an effort to communicate beyond maybe the information that the community would ask for, because there are people who are interested in it to this depth. I had a
Mhm.
community member while this was all going on. I was, you know, happily playing Diablo, and he would come in and be like, "Do you want to know the update on the numbers drop?" I'm like, "Okay, go for it," because like you were so excited about it. But I think ultimately it's interesting that it kind of came out over something that was really desirable in the community,
Mhm.
like a role that was really desirable. But this is something that has been baked into the game for a really long time. It's just
Yeah.
I think the article said that the it's more likely to have the paired weighted if there's more perks, and with the like, because the guns have more perks on them than they used to, that the issue was exacerbated and maybe more noticeable
Mhm.
because of that.
Mm.
I think it's really interesting. I think that at the end of the day, the resolution was really good. The community is amazing as always, and I think that Bungie did a good job explaining it. Maybe more information than I personally wanted, but there's probably somebody who is just really super excited about this article.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised that they even put out the article. I know we kind of get used to Bungie being pretty good and pretty being able to communicate a lot of information that a lot of us like probably don't think is necessary,
Mhm.
because I can probably expect a lot of other developers probably just saying, "We were wrong, my bad," and then just
Yeah.
wiping their hands
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
But I have to give them credit for first owning up to it,
Yeah.
because they just could have been like, they could have said whatever and then just been done with it. But I got to give them respect and props for owning up to it, for addressing it in a huge article with information that went right over my head, and then just being like, you know what? Here's a bunch of really good roles for everybody, just to say my bad.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I was very surprised at all of that,
Yeah.
and the only thing to get that weapon was just beat that dungeon one time, and you can have it, because they could have done none of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know?
No, I think they handled it really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole thing was like just mesmerizing to watch. And then to see the reaction, I think in the past, past Bungie, I don't know if would have talked about this as in depth as they had, at least within like the last year. Like in the past year, it seems like they've been way more open to talk about the issues that are going on underneath the hood, especially when the community calls it out. And I'm glad that we're getting the communication that we're getting now from them. Do we have any other thoughts?
They've done it for, I would say they've done it for a while. Most of the time they've done it has been for PvP.
Yeah.
Because I remember about 3 years ago, maybe,
Yeah, didn't they
there
do
was
like
a
those
big thing about PvP and the
Insight-
trials.
Mm.
Yeah. And they
Insight
did all
articles or
this stuff
something?
about, all I remember is that there was one of the articles and they had this big graph regarding skill-based matchmaking. They had all this weighted up and
that
downs and
article
all
is
this stuff.
really long.
And I was like, okay, I need somebody to explain like I'm 5 for me, because I have no idea what any of this means.
Mhm.
But
Right.
all it tells me is that like the better I play, the better my pool is, or something like that. So they've done it for a while, but I don't. just trying to think, at least for the last 5 years, you
Mhm.
know, they've done it for a decent amount of stuff, but not a lot of it has been under the engine stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that, shall we move on to the dawning?
Yes.
How many people are very excited to bake cookies for the next month and some change?
Very excited.
Yeah.
That's a stretch. I mean, we'll see. They did say they were making some changes. I skimmed that article really quickly. I haven't been able to like fully read it, but they did say they made changes to obtaining the ingredients. Like supposedly it will be easier this time around. I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to that. Some ingredients were extremely difficult to get in earlier iterations of the dawning, so we'll see. I think that I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just being jaded. That's fair. I just feel like the sad thing is that these events have been going on for so long, and they're still fun. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, but there's very little that's new about them. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like this is coming, and that's great. It's fun, but there's not as much excitement over it than before because we know what's going to come up. We know what's like, yeah, there's some new things, don't get me wrong, but like
Mhm.
it's like it's been the same thing for a few years now with very little change, and sometimes the few change that we got were not so great or whatever. So I don't know. It's something to do. I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm excited about it though.
If you're very cosmetically driven, it seems like this event is going to be very good for you because
Yeah.
we have 3 new
Yeah,
emblems coming with different cookies needing to be made during the next 3 weeks. And then we have that dragon armor set,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know, something about a holiday dragon I never thought I needed in my life. but here we are.
I don't know if I'm excited to bake cookies,
Yeah.
but the dawning aesthetic in
Mhm.
Destiny
It's
is
very
my
fun.
favorite.
There's some cool
aesthetic.
shaders.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's gold, it's like blue, it's purple. It's so pretty. And like to the point where I'll be be cleaning my vault and my friend's gonna telling me what I'm gonna delete and I have a dawning gun and I'm like, I know it's terrible, but it's so pretty and I don't want to
so
delete
pretty.
it.
Give me a
Like,
reason to use it, please.
I'm like, I don't need to use it. It's just pretty, okay? So, I think I'm actually gonna play because I
Mhm.
really like the dawning aesthetic. I think it's the nicest in the game. I'm actually even tempted to spend real money
silver?
on the shader because there's a shader included in the event card that
Mhm.
looks really cool. Um, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for shaders. Like that, I won't like. I mean, I'll
Oh
spend
my
my real
gosh,
money
me
on other
too.
things, but like if there's a shader, I'm getting the shader.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I love collecting shaders. So
Yup.
Yeah. Something like at least on the in the sandbox side, they say to celebrate the season, we have a new adaptive void linear fusion rifle called Mistral Lift. As part of the Dawning Weapons offering, it can drop with Envious Arsenal and Bait and Switch combo. And the rest of the Dawning Weapons are getting renewed perk pools. Avalanche with rewind rounds. Zephyr has Rhyme Sealer and Cold Steel, and Glacioclasm will terrorize PvP with Lone Wolf and Closing Time. So it seems like maybe they're
could be
upping
some.
the quality of the weapons a little bit.
Yeah.
So
They
maybe
do
when you
that every year too. They
Yeah.
always give it some
A
of the
little
new perks that
refresh.
they've added
Mhm.
over the last year. I don't know if I can say I'm excited either.
Yeah.
Dawning is definitely my favorite historically event.
Mhm.
It's the best looking, generally has the best gear as far as like cosmetics. But I don't know how excited I am because I'm probably just gonna log in and spend like however much Bright Dust it costs to get the armor and then just
Right.
log off. Which
That's
I
fair.
know not everyone can do that because they don't have a infinite pool of Bright Dust like I do. I save it up
How much do you
for
have?
years.
Like, what are we
I'm
talking?
only at 100,000. I've actually
Only
spent a decent amount.
100,000. Okay.
The 1%
I've spent a
over
decent
here.
amount
You're
this shit.
slacking,
I know.
man.
So I
Slacking.
speak
Got
from a
whatever I
very
just got in the
terrible point of view. I
season
know.
pass.
I know. because for years I just didn't spend my bright dust. So I always have enough to win. If there's something that looks really cool, I just purchase it and I don't have to waste silver.
Right.
Unless, like Tilly, if there's a shader that requires silver, I will, give them some of my silver that they've given us over the years. Yep. But I know 99% of the community probably heard that amount and said, "How dare you?"
I won't say my amount then, because
yes, and I know there's there are people that have way more than me, so I totally understand that. I totally understand.
Jealousy.
I do like the cosmetics enough to play. I don't know. I don't know. Are we getting a actual activity with the Dawning? Or is it just like
probably cookie baking? So
just
it's supposed to refresh the normal playlist, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
I would really like for my favorite event to get an actual activity.
Yeah. It says the basics of the Dawning event remain the same. It'll be snowing in several locations and activities, so you can make and throw snowballs to slow, freeze, and shatter enemies. Ava Levante will be on hand at the tower with a mission for you, so you can learn about ingredients gathering, Dawning essence acquisition, and how to use and improve your amazing oven to bake hundreds, if not thousands, of cookies. Once you know how to do that, you can go on a sugar-powered rampage, handing them out to all your friends in the Soul System in exchange for Dawning gifts. I think the big thing, like the event card, they said there will be, it's just the emblems are the new thing, and that's for baking cookies.
It was like Twid the Emblem Edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
At least the emblems look nice. So.
They do.
Didn't they get rid of like the burn cookie that we used to give to Rahul?
Edge
I think
Transit.
that was during that time that was the thing. There was like a burn cookie. Like if you messed up the ingredients, it would give like a burn cookie, and then you could give that to Rahul for like a random drop that would usually be Edge Transit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they got rid of that, and I was like, why?
They got rid of that.
Yeah, that was sad. It was like, come on, that was funny.
Was that before they had recipes in the oven?
You could still do it as long as you didn't masterwork your oven. Because once you masterwork your oven, you couldn't choose the ingredients anymore. So there was a moment where you could, like, as you discovered them, you could try them out.
Burn cookies. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
intentionally burn cookies. Did you intentionally burn some cookies, Steph?
100%.
Burn and transits. That is what they. Yeah.
That was mainly for arson, though.
You're Dawning cookies like your IRL cooking, then, huh, Steph?
Yeah.
Wow, you've never had my baking. How dare you, ma'am? How dare? I did great baking, and you haven't sent me any of yours, so I'm going to say the same about yours.
I will say, Tilly has sent me cookies, and they are delicious. They are awesome.
Thank you. I like IRL cookies. Yes.
I'm, you have my address. You can send them anytime.
But they do have a baking contest too for an emblem. Maybe I should enter the baking contest.
They do.
You should.
Yeah.
And then send them to me after you're done.
Okay. Thank you for taste testing, Seth. Even after I insulted your baking.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how you get forgiven.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so we have the Dawning cookies, other desserts. We have that emblem up. Fashion contest is up. They're bringing Bear and Bingo back.
Yes.
Yeah, Sammy, did you see some of the changes they made?
Oh my God, they listened.
Yeah, they listened. Like, so I think all of us in the US, and I had a couple people reach out to me after I posted about it. It's like, hey, it sounds good. Like, this is great that they listened to our feedback, because they made it so that some of the teams were they could decide whether they wanted to be competitive or cooperative, which is really cool. And it seems like this time around everybody's getting emblems if you like participate in completing one of the squares on there. That sounds rad. So congratulations, good job, Bungie, on listening to that. That was great. It was awesome to see. It was the first time that I've been like, oh, I recognize some of these changes from conversations that we've had.
Isn't that such a cool feeling?
It was cool. It was very nice. I was very happy to see it, because I think it'll go smoother for friends that that will be doing this. We specific call outs to like Pidge, Dusty Fun Police, Benny, Iswerg. I never remember how to pronounce their name. DD Flawless and Mrs. Kenner, who are all captains. Like, I saw those names and I was like, hell yeah, that's good.
Isn't it kind of weird? Like, not weird. I don't know the term. I kind of have this feeling where, yeah, it wasn't like our event, but we were definitely the guinea pigs, and it's kind of like
there's a sense of ownership
our
over that.
event. There is, where it's like now we're passing it on, and it's we've gone through hell during its toddler years.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But we get to see it
And
all grown up,
our-
and we're like, go
Our
get
babies
'em.
fly in the net. The nest.
Go get them.
And it's kind of like, hey guys, if you need our help, we know.
Yeah.
We know what behind the lines is like. I mean, let us know. It was crazy.
Yeah, let us know if you need anything. That was I think I messaged D and Pidge and was like, hey, if you need anything, let me know. Went through it before. Yeah, it was great. We have
Had
some
that sense of ownership.
Yeah. We have some community armor surveys back. I don't know how to do this other than by round of applause. Biohazard Soldier, who's excited for that. Is there an aesthetic that's like reaching out to people on this list? We have
Some of them
Biohazard-
were really interesting, but like I just know the community now. It's whatever one's gonna make him look all black or like all white or like super goth edgy. That's gonna win.
They're like,
so.
let's pick the under the
Yeah.
bleachers edgy.
That's Lich King,
Yes,
Demon
it's true.
Overlord, and Retro 80s all wrapped up
There
in
you
one.
go. That's what we're gonna see in the
I
next
feel
couple
like
years.
we already have most of the.
Yeah.
We
I
do.
felt
Doesn't
the same
matter,
way
though.
reading through the list. I was like, I can think of specific armor sets that are already like all of these. It just didn't. I mean, I understand they're different, but it didn't feel super creative to me. I don't know. I think that could have
Forest
reached
Guardian
further.
is the only one that really stood out
Yeah.
to me.
That one reminds me. What was the season that had the leafy armor? There
Oh,
was
that
a
was
season that
Switch
had
Time.
Oh, it was
Forest, but
Undying.
Yeah,
Undying. Thank you.
Season
Yes,
Undying,
yes,
yeah.
yes. That's what reminded me of the Undying set. So I don't know.
There was a set for silver that had like I think it was like more of a celestial cloak and had horns coming off of it, kind of like a fawn.
Oh, it was the Seven Sisters, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Not a Seven Sisters, but it was related to that whole thing of
It
Yeah.
was
Seven
like the
Sisters.
Zodiac one, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, something like that.
Like
I don't remember
those-
the name of it.
Like it kind of reminded me like a little bit of that. I could stand to see a little bit more foliage on armor.
I like grass on armor just because I
Yeah.
think like having like a touching grass. I have
Oh, yeah.
I have like a touching grass kind of like set where I make it's like green with grass. Yeah. Just for the memes. I think that's pretty fun.
Yeah. But for sure,
I
Lich King
have
is
a
getting
whole
it.
bunch of. I do a lot of fashion.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you had
Invest me.
the Eevee evolution recently,
I finished
right?
all of my evolutions. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
excited.
let's go.
All 9 of them. And I can tell you I am a freaking god. But I want just something different, something fun to play with.
Mhm.
A lot of it's kind of all becoming the same thing, where it's just that gritty look or that really not
PS3
really
era.
technical, like futuristic tech look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I actually am more excited about the Dawning Armor set than I am
Yeah.
about the categories,
Yep.
if that makes sense. Because you get the unique wings, which I don't do we have wings
Yep.
on anything else? I don't think
The
so.
Titans had wings, but no one can get those. So this is going to be the
So
first
this
time
is
for a
gonna
lot.
be-
There's like
yeah,
faux
it's really
wings
exciting.
for Hunter Cape
Okay.
from season of the ribbon.
Mm-hmm.
There's that Trials cloak as well. That's kind of wings.
Mhm.
Kind of like wings.
Yeah.
And there wasn't there like a bug set during one of the Festival of Lost
Yes.
that had like
Yeah.
some jittering wings on there? Yeah.
kind of, yeah.
but not like not like
Yeah, yeah.
dragon wings. They were like more like
dragon wings.
bat like.
Yeah.
But I know
Yeah.
what you're talking about, Dan. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think there are limitations. It's just in terms of the game and what they can produce.
Mm-hmm.
In terms like the creativity, I mean, I think the most exciting things that have come out are probably like the cowboy hat is like the most different,
Yeah. The
exciting.
community
But
really
also-
rallied around the cowboy aesthetic.
Oh my gosh, that was
Yeah.
huge. And then also the what other stuff that I really like is the vampire set
Mhm.
was
Yeah.
really good for the warlock. I think those are like in my mind like the two most unique ones. But I think just they're working engineering within constraints, right? So and I think the constraints are
Yeah.
pretty heavy for what they're able to make. But
I'm still gonna say, Bungie, can we please get a rework of the older set so that they work better with the shaders? Thank you.
oh, true,
Yes.
true. Yeah,
We were
A
talking.
have-
revamp of the shading on
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. Bonnet.
Because some of them don't shade, right? Like we talked about this and like
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
please
yeah. No, it is
that
unfortunate.
there are so many older sets that I want to use because they're very special or they're like so they're very out of the ordinary and they're
Yeah.
great and I would love to use them, but I can't shade them correctly because there's always like a part that doesn't shade at all and it's a weird color. It's not black or white or any like neutral color. It's like yellow or green or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I want to use this, but then I'm forced to use like a green shader or whatever type of shader that fits in that specific color scheme. And I'm like, that's not what I want to use. So please, 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 Bungie, please do kind of a quality of life fashion update where you go back through these old sets and make them fully shadable. Please. I would love that.
you know, I'm guessing there's like two people who have that issue, Seth.
I know.
That's
But
why
they're
it's
all
never gonna
gonna
happen. Like the amount of
Especially-
resources
No,
that they would have to put in to do that just
I get
to
that.
fix
I
it
fully
for
get
like
that.
the
but
5
think
people
about it
that have
this way.
collected armor for like 10 years.
I would
But
fund
think about
them
it this way.
myself.
Fiddly. But think about it this way.
I love
Fiddly.
you, but I don't
Because-
think it's gonna happen.
No, I know it's not going to happen, and that's fair. That's fine. Whatever. But think about it this way: they can re-release these armor sets like they used to do, and that's free,
Yeah.
quote unquote, not content, but free, whatever you want to call it, that they can just reuse for new players. So like, it's somewhat of a win-win on some levels.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, it's not going to happen. But whatever.
It's okay to
I'm
want
going to keep asking. It hurts
Doesn't
no
hurt.
one other than annoy Dan because he keeps listening to me talk about this all the
Exactly.
time.
In this episode where Seth asks again if Bungie can fix
Exactly.
the old armor set shading.
It's my minute of salt.
We
You know, like that.
we
talked
should
about
we
that.
should do a drinking game.
Oh.
You know, there you
Drink
go.
every
Every time
time.
Seth brings it up.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say Jenny doesn't want me drunk every week.
Oh.
Well,
Oh no.
there
I'm
goes that one.
Kidding.
Get wrecked, Seth.
Hey, you know what? I don't care. You can make fun of me for that. I've had asks like that about the game for forever. I don't care. Like for me, it's more like I'm gonna keep talking about it. I know it's not
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
happen, but hey,
Yeah.
one
Hey,
day
if you
maybe.
the
I
what
keep
is
asking
the phrase?
if they'll take champions out. I know it'll never happen.
Oh,
though.
that's not gonna happen. If my armor set stuff is not gonna happen, then your champions is definitely not gonna happen. I'm so
Well,
sorry, Sammy.
It may happen. Champions have not existed for the lifetime of the game being out. So in all likelihood, at some point there may be a larger shift where they don't exist.
Yeah.
I think that's
I
more
don't know,
likely.
They've
because it's
already
a-
shifted, I think.
Yeah.
It's an easy mechanic. It's an easy mechanic.
It's basically a more lazy way to add difficulty to activities.
Mhm.
But I don't agree that it's set in stone for perpetuity. I think there's an
No.
it could change. Yeah.
We'll see.
I think subjugators and tormentors are what they've started to implement instead in that type of
Banes.
archetype where
Yeah.
Banes where they are unique enemies that don't require the artifact to combat.
Mm.
Yeah,
So I think
agreed.
they are leaning more into that than champions because to the right, you don't see champions as much in newer base content.
Hey guys, guess what?
Yep.
Mm.
I can finally do content that has Banes in them and figure out
Oh,
what
you
a
can!
Bane is.
That's right.
I finally can figure out what a Bane
Yeah.
is.
Oh my
Our friend
God.
Court just put out a whole thing on how to combat different banes. So if you're looking for that, Court has a really good spreadsheet.
I
Shout
can
out
play the game. I can play Destiny.
Um, we also have
Mhm.
like some fixes here. So Sentinel Shield super damage is going to be knocked down mid-December because it was doing goofy things. Celestial Nighthawk, they're aware of an issue where the variant is benefiting from the recent increase in super energy gains meant for only roaming supers, which is not intended, and they're
Darn.
targeting a fix in early December. Shadowfall Tether update will be coming they're targeting mid-January. So a little late for Sammy, but will be available elsewhere. We got the Legend and Master Lost Sector rewards, targeting a fix for that. Yeah. Other than that, I think we're good for questions.
Sounds good.
Yeah. We only have a couple here. Thanks to the fine folks on chat. We're here on this Sunday, currently at twitch.tv/Danfinity, but we might find another home for it if we can't. if I'm unable to go to everybody else's channel. We have a question from Al Armour. If there was a physical reward, would you be more inclined to grind an event?
A physical reward like a
Like-
seal like we already have?
Or yeah, like I think seals
I
are
thought
kind
they
of
meant
like
like IRL reward.
yeah.
Okay. I mean, okay, but I'm thinking as a Canadian that has to spend an insane amount of money in
Yeah.
shipping every time I want to get something.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be worth it for most people outside of the US. Even EU is like super expensive to ship, and I can't even imagine like AZ and like all of like ANZ and all of that. Like, unfortunately, that would only apply to the US mainly. So I don't think that would work out. Like, I already buy a lot of stuff from the store from like rewards from the game that already exist. So no, unfortunately, I don't think that it would be something that would be very like function. Like it wouldn't really work for most people, unfortunately. But even
Yeah.
then, All Armor Canadian would really want it. It's not even really wanting to want it. There's a lot of stuff in the store that I would love to buy that I don't buy because it's
Yeah.
way too expensive.
Shipping.
Like buying a pin, right? The title pin that I buy. I'm lucky enough that I have people in the US that let me send it to them and then they all bundle it up together and then ship it to me. But like the title pin, if I were to buy it straight and send it straight to my house, the title pin is like 20 something. The shipping to me is 20 something US. It's double the price.
It's crazy.
So it's not viable. It's just not worth it, unfortunately.
Any other thoughts?
I mean, I
I
bought
mean,
a couple
that,
raid jackets. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think for something that's like super rare or special,
Yeah.
like a day one raid or a week one raid, like I might be more inclined. But other than that,
Yeah, the title stuff doesn't really do
not
anything for me.
not so interested.
Yeah. Trying to think like because I've like Seth and I did that raid. did Ron that one time, that day one.
I bought that jacket.
I
buy
didn't.
all the raid jackets that I do. And like I'm the Canadian here, right? That has to pay for like all of that because
Right, yeah.
those I do ship straight to my house. So
Yeah.
I pay that extra shipping and then I pay customs on top of that. You also
Yeah.
have to think about that. Other countries have to pay customs.
Yeah.
So like I do it because like Tiddly said, they're very special. Like it's a one type event, they're rare, so on and
Mhm.
so forth. Those yes, but for something that's like an event that comes every year, I don't think it would be worth it, unfortunately.
I would rather
Wow.
have them spend their energy doing something like Dan said and creating some kind of activity for the dawning.
Mhm.
Like do that. Like that would be great.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Any thoughts?
Oh no, I just agree. No, it's
Yeah.
I bought the Crown of Sorrow jacket
Mhm.
and
That was one of their best ones.
I really don't need more of those jackets. So like, I still like
Yeah.
mine. I think
You
buying
don't have a room in your house with just mannequins all wearing the jackets?
No, none
To
of
be
the
fair,
stuff from the Bungie store really interests me that much to purchase them.
There's a sweater right
Not
now
saying there
that's in there
couldn't be
that's
something,
cool.
but yeah.
I've had my eye on a sweater in there for a while, but it is really expensive for
yeah, that's
what
the
it
other
is.
part.
Yeah.
To be fair, I will give that to Bungie. Most of the time, when you buy stuff on their store, especially like the jackets and those very like high end type of clothing, if you want, they
Yeah.
tend to be really good quality. So I'll
Yeah.
Oh
give
my
It's
that
gosh,
really,
to
really
their
good
that.
apparel
quality.
quality is
hmm
so good.
So not
Yeah.
all the apparel, but the
The
reward one, the one
jackets,
that
the
goes
reward
into the
jackets.
reward
Yeah.
tab, the braid jackets and the dungeon stuff, they tend to be a
Oh, those are?
really high quality.
I think their
Um,
t-shirts can be really good, high quality
some of
too.
them, yeah, some of them. I've heard a few of the hoodies, not much, but like one or two were not so great. But overall, I will give that to Bungie. Everything that's on their store tends to be
Good
high
quality.
quality, so the price is good. But again, if you are not in the US or within like a specific region that has like a good shipping, it's just extremely
Yeah.
expensive,
Even in the
unfortunately.
States, depending on where you are, the shipping's not great. So
Yeah.
it's only exacerbated by being out of the States.
Yep.
Yeah, and the other thing is like if you buy, for example, like the reward stuff, like titles or whatever, you can like you have to buy it one at a time, and there's a shipping applied to each of them. Like you cannot bundle them up instead of like if the rest of the store you can do like a big order, bundle it up and so on and so forth. But like the reward tab, all of it that's related to rewards in game, you have to buy one at a time, and it's a shipping fee
Mhm.
for each of them. So it's incredibly expensive.
Yeah. You can't bundle it.
One
No,
time
unfortunately.
I tried to message the Bungie store support and
Mm-hmm.
we did a back and forth a little bit. And I was like, why for the Grimoire Anthology do I have to pay like $10 in shipping when Media Mail costs so much cheaper? And they were like, this is just how it is. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
but Media Mail. And I am shocked that they had actually responded to me
They
Yeah.
twice. But
from
it's
what
like,
I've
why am I
learned,
spending $10 when Media Mail is like $4?
from what
Yeah.
I've learned is that their shop is set up in a very specific way, and trying to change that is like a nightmare.
Mm.
So that's why they're not changing it, unfortunately. But yeah, that's what I've heard like ages ago is was that the shop was set with a specific vendor or a specific way or whatever, a specific system. And then if they even tried to touch that, it would be like an absolute like hellscape and a nightmare.
Mm.
And they're like, it's not worth it right
Yeah.
now to do that or ever to do that. So we'll see.
Next question comes from Autopatch. Community events like Corridors of Time really infuse energy into the community and historically have brought players out of the woodwork and generated a lot of positive noise. Should Bungie use these events to bring players back into the game?
Be great. Too much effort on their end. They don't have enough resources to do that anymore, unfortunately. That's going to be my answer to that. It sucks, but yeah,
Mhm.
it's just too much time, effort, energy, and they just do not have the resources at the studio anymore. I think that Corridor of Time was when Bungie still had access to Vicarious.
Oh,
Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I'm don't quote me
yeah.
fully on that, but
Yeah, I don't know if the timeline, what the
I
timeline is on
believe
that.
it was when they still had access to Vicarious Vision, or it was at the end of that,
Mhm.
maybe. I don't know, whatever. But they just don't have the resources anymore. With all the layoff that that happened last year and everything, I don't think it's ever gonna happen again. Not anymore, unfortunately.
However, given unlimited resources, I think like we probably agree that these types of one-off
Mhm.
puzzle events are really popular with the community and
Yeah.
people like them.
They generate a lot of buzz.
Absolutely.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
They're
generate a lot of
amazing. They're
buzz.
great.
They bring people together in a way, like, or especially
Corridors
around a
of
puzzle,
Time.
like Niobe
Yeah,
Labs.
Corridors. Niobe Labs,
Yeah.
Whisper, 0 Hour, all of these were fantastic pieces of content that had like an amazing impact on the community. And like something like the dungeon, like well, it's not a dungeon, but like 0 Hour Whisper might be
Mhm.
Niobe
Possible.
Lab might be
Yeah.
feasible. That might still be feasible. I don't think Corridors of Time would be. That's not something to be able to
Yeah.
do anymore. It's just too much. But like something a bit smaller, maybe. But with the live service game that we have right now, I don't know, man. I don't think it's the type of system that allows that much kind of sidetrack
Mhm.
mission or whatever, unfortunately. It's
I
just not.
am completely okay with that. Like honestly, Contest Dungeon was one of the most fun things I've ever done in the
Mm.
game. So give me more contest dungeon, give me more like raid content. Like I'm good. I don't need these extras. The extra stuff is nice, but like, oh my goodness, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, 100%.
I would just like some tether in my.
Some tether in your
Mid-January.
contest dungeon.
Mid-January.
May I get some tether?
I think
I
they
like
said
some
they're addressing
tether
it,
in
right?
Yeah. Mid-January.
In my
Please,
future
dungeon.
dungeons.
Please, Bungie. I like to play Void Hunter, Bungie. Please.
May I get a tether, Bungie?
May I
please?
get some Void Tether, Bungie, please?
That's literally what we're at, to be fair.
Fletcher guy says she doesn't need it anymore.
Oh, it's true. She's done. She
true.
finished the
Yeah.
game. She just finished
Fair.
Destiny. Yeah.
I just
Good
finished
job
all
on
of
finishing the
Destiny.
game. Good job. Good job.
He also-
She beat
You're
the
done.
game.
Yeah, you're done. Amazing.
He also contributed something that is more of a prompt, less of a question. But he's like, I'd love to see community events that unlock transmog. 3 objectives. Whichever one wins is the armor set tied to the condition.
Oh, so
Make
you mean
community
the old
compete for
armor
the one?
set? Yeah, you mean the old ornaments that we used to get in Vanguard? Well, mainly Crucible, Iron
Yes,
Banner,
Crucible.
those things that are coming
And
back
raids.
now.
Yeah.
When Bungie, I'm just annoyed at not
Oh,
at.
Everyone get your
Fletcher?
shots ready. She's going to say
Do
it
it.
again.
No,
I'm
but like
so
no.
excited.
I poured some vodka
Do
just
it.
for this.
Ornaments,
Do it.
the ornaments that Bungie said they would not make again. You know, the weapons that we used to have every season, like the spare ration one that happened to be in the store one time and then was
Yes.
away for like 3
Yes.
years.
Yes.
Like I would love that. I would love to have more ornaments that are not tied to Bright Dust, that are just tied to activity and so on and so forth. But I don't. And it sucks, but I don't think Bungie is gonna do that again. Because it doesn't make them money. Sorry, it's sucky.
I think Fletcher's idea is a good and creative one, and I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it because it used to be fun, right? You
Yeah.
used to have to do specific kind of. It wasn't super big challenges, but you had to play X amount of time or X amount of game with
Yeah.
whatever subclass or whatever, and then you would unlock each piece of the armor set as you went through, and like you could get the full set during a season, and that was a great thing to do. It was fun because it was like, oh, here's how I can engage with this content in a different way to get me something that is related to the content, but not just for that content. So it's a great thing, but I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately.
All right. Well, those are all the questions and prompts fit to print. How about we wrap this up, shall we, guys?
Yes.
Yes, chef.
Heck yes.
Yeah.
Thanks to everybody who's listening to this on Spotify and Apple and everything else. You'll find this episode up later tonight on Sunday. You can catch us live Sundays on Twitch. I don't know if this is going to be the permanent channel for it or if I'm going to end up making a Destiny Digest one soon. But we'll figure that out down the line. Tiddly, where can they find you on the internet?
I am Tiddly on Blue Sky and twitch.tv/Tiddly on Twitch. I'm Tiddly, the Tiddly Winks on some other platforms, but mostly I use Twitch and Blue Sky. So
Heck yeah. Epic Dan.
You can find me on twitch.tv/EpicDan22 pretty much every day. You can find me on Blue Sky as well at EpicDan22. TikTok, YouTube are all just EpicDan22. So if you literally Google EpicDan22, you'll find pretty much every single platform I'm on.
Heck yeah. Sammy Cat.
I am on twitch.tv/SammyCat. I am also SammyCat on Blue Sky and okay, either it's gonna be SammyCat or SammyCat Plays. I'm mostly right now, besides Twitch, on Twitter/X. And Blue Sky, I'm trying to move more onto the TikTok and Instagram. So just find me on social media. Yeah, just search one or the other. Pretty easy.
Heck yeah. Seth, what about you?
Pretty much just Twitch as a person who annoys people, like I said earlier. I annoyed a streamer. And then on Blue Sky, that's pretty much where I will be. Those are my only two mainly. I'm on other platforms, but I don't really use them. I just lurk on the other ones. So yeah, Blue Sky, Twitch, Zepha, and then like I said, pretty much done.
Heck yeah. Does anybody have anything coming up on their streams? Like anything major this week in the next couple of weeks?
I am currently raising money for the puppies. I
Heck yeah.
do I do a fundraiser every holiday season for a local no-kill animal shelter here in Minnesota. Last year we raised $5,000. So currently Twitch has a promotion that if you give $5, $25, or $50, then you get a Twitch badge, which I think is pretty cool because those are not very common. But I will be raising money all through the month and then hopefully doing some kind of fun subathon type fundraiser event also this month. Yes, I need to talk to Steph because she's my producer for that event too.
I forgot it was this month.
Yeah, I know. We can do it in January. It's like it's okay. We
No,
don't have
it's
to
fine,
do
it's
it. Yeah, yeah, we'll figure it out.
I
Heck
just
yeah.
forgot. I was like, oh shit, December.
Yes.
Anybody else got anything going on?
I do. I just can't remember.
You've spent so
play the
long in
game
that
now.
dungeon,
That's
Sammy.
the big thing, exactly.
She's like, no
You don't have to play
brain,
the dungeon
only
anymore.
dungeon.
You're free now. It
I'm
can't
gonna
hurt
go
you.
and it can't hurt me. Don't know about that.
So now we can raid
Yeah.
Sammy. It'll be
Yeah.
Let me know. Let's do it. Or maybe
Um,
Sammy, you can join us for a Baldur's playthrough next month.
Oh yes.
That'll be so
Baldur's
fun. I
Ball
would love
Crawl?
that.
Bar Crawl?
Yeah.
Let's do
Oh
it.
yeah, I would laugh when you guys
Let's
do that.
do it.
Oh
She can
my
play.
God.
What is the character that does bows? Isn't there like a ranger character
Yeah,
or
there's a-
something that
there's
she
a
can
ranger.
class or
Isn't it
something?
Yeah.
Rogue?
Mm-hmm.
There
Something like that.
literally Sammy could play bows in Baldur's and do the whole
Heck
thing.
yeah.
I think you would love it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess that just leaves me. My name's Danfinity. You can find me on the Twitter and the Instagram and the TikTok at danfinity.gg. You can find me on Blue Sky, danfinity.gg. I am currently working on a website, so I don't have to depend on any of those for the extended future. This has been Destiny Digest episode 83. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you find what you're grinding for.